In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful. Ta, Sin, Mim.
See Surah An-Naml, Ayah 91 for the Tafsir.
These are verses of the clear book.
Commentary. Surah Al-Qasas is the very last among the Mecca surahs. It was revealed between Makkah and Jufa, Arabic, during the migration. It is mentioned in some narrations that during the journey from Mecca to Medina, when the Holy Prophet reached near Jufa, or Rabi'd, Jibril came to him and inquired whether he was feeling homesick, as he was leaving the place where he was born and spent all his life. To this the Holy Prophet replied in the affirmative. Then Jibril recited this surah, and gave him the good tidings that ultimately Mecca will fall to him and come under his control. The related verse is as follows. Surely the one who has enjoined the Qur'an upon you will surely bring you back to the place of return. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 85. Surah Al-Qasas begins with the story of Sayyidina Musa first briefly, then in detail. First half of the surah contains Sayyidina Musa's episodes with the Pharaoh, and towards the end of the surah, his episode with Qarun is related. The story of Sayyidina Musa is related extensively in the Qur'an at places briefly while at others in detail. In Surah Al-Kahf cave, that part of the story is related in which he encountered Al-Qadir. Then in Surah Taha other parts of the story are related in some detail, while some details are related in Surah An-Naml. Now in Surah Al-Qasas they are being reiterated. In Surah Taha, where Allah Ta'ala has said about Musa, and we tested you with a great ordeal. Surah Taha, Ayah 40. Imam Nasai and some other commentators have penned down the entire story at that point. The writer has followed suit, and by quoting Ibn Kathir has written the whole story under Surah Taha. All the relevant parts of the story, its related important issues, and rulings have been discussed in detail under Surah Al-Kahf and Taha. For any reference of an issue or ruling, it would be apt to look up there. Now in this surah commentary will be restricted to brief explanation of the wordings of these verses.
We recite to you from the news of Moses and Pharaoh in truth for a people who believe.
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 2 for the Tafsir.
Indeed, Pharaoh exalted himself in the land and made its people into factions, oppressing a sector among them, slaughtering their newborn sons and keeping their females alive. Indeed, he was of the corrupters.
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 2 for the Tafsir.
And we wanted to confer favor upon those who were oppressed in the land, and make them leaders and make them inheritors.
May Allah be pleased with him, and we intended to favor those who were held as weak in the land, and to make them leaders. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 5. In this verse it is emphasized that the plan of the Pharaoh was not equal to that of the divine fate, rather it turned out to be completely ineffective, and he and his entire courtiers were befooled. On the basis of the dream and its interpretation about an Israeli boy from whom the life of the Pharaoh was at risk, and because of which hundreds of newly born Israeli male issues were put to death on their birth, it so turned out that Allah Ta'ala made that very boy to grow up in his own house. Not only that, but for the solace of his mother it was arranged to send him back to her for nursing in a most astonishing manner. On top of that, the Pharaoh was made to pay a service charge for nursing, which according to some narrations was 1 dinar a day. Since this service charge was taken from an infidel with his consent, hence there is no confusion about its admissibility. The cruelty he had perpetrated to quell the risk was of no avail to him, because that very danger was ultimately made to rear in his own home, and ultimately erupted like lava. This way the dream came true, and he saw that happening with his own eyes. The verse, and to make the Pharaoh and Haman and their armies see that what they were fearing from had actually happened. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 6, describes this only.
And establish them in the land, and show Pharaoh and his minister Haman and their soldiers through them that which they had feared.
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 5 for the Tafsir.
And we inspired to the mother of Moses, suckle him, but when you fear for him, cast him into the river, and do not fear and do not grieve. Indeed, we will return him to you, and will make him one of the messengers.
Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 7. The word wahi, inspiration, is used here in its literal meaning. It does not mean the wahi that is peculiar to prophets. This point has already been explained under Surah Taha.
And the family of Pharaoh picked him up out of the river, so that he would become to them an enemy and a cause of grief. Indeed, Pharaoh and Haman and their soldiers were deliberate sinners.
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 7 for the Tafsir.
And the wife of Pharaoh said, "He will be a comfort of the eye for me and for you. Do not kill him. Perhaps he may benefit us, or we may adopt him as a son." And they perceived not.
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 7 for the Tafsir.
And the heart of Moses' mother became empty of all else. She was about to disclose the matter concerning him had we not bound fast her heart that she would be of the believers.
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 7 for the Tafsir.
And she said to his sister, "Follow him." So she watched him from a distance while they perceived not.
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 7 for the Tafsir.
And we had prevented from him all wet nurses before. So she said, "Shall I direct you to a household that will be responsible for him for you, while they are to him for his upbringing sincere?"
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 7 for the Tafsir.
So we restored him to his mother, that she might be content and not grieve, and that she would know that the promise of Allah is true. But most of the people do not know.
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 7 for the Tafsir.
And when he attained his full strength and was mentally mature, we bestowed upon him judgment and knowledge, and thus do we reward the doers of good.
Commentary. And when he reached his maturity and became perfect, Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 14, the literal meaning of ashad is to attain the peak of strength or intensity. For instance, a person gradually develops from the position of juvenile weakness to the strength of adulthood. A time comes when he has attained full strength and vigor that he could achieve. That point in life is called ashad. In different parts of the world and for different people, this point in life varies according to climate, character of the land, race, etc. Some people attain it early while others take time. Ibn Humayd has reported that Sayyidina Ibn Abbas and Mujahid have placed the age of ashad as 33rd year of one's life. This is called the age of perfection or the age of discernment, when the development of body stops after reaching its peak. After this age a period of hold commences, which lasts until the age of 40. This period is mentioned in the verse as istawa, translated above as became perfect. After the age of 40 years the decline and weakness sets in. Hence, it can be said that ashad of a person starts from the age of 33 years and lasts through 40 years. By we gave him wisdom and knowledge. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 14. The word lakam, translated above as wisdom, is used here for prophethood, and the word knowledge refers to the knowledge of divine injunctions. And he entered the city at a time of unawareness of its people. Most commentators have interpreted that the word city is used here for the main city of Egypt. The words he entered indicate that Musa had gone away somewhere out of Egypt. Then he entered back at a time when people normally sleep. It is also mentioned in the incident of killing of the Kipti that it was the time when Musa had already announced his prophethood and had started preaching the religion of truth. As a result of his preaching, some people had converted and were known as his disciples. The word from his group Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 15, is a proof of that. All these versions give credence to the narration which is quoted by Ibn Ishaq and Ibn Zayd that when Musa had started talking to the people about the religion of truth, the Pharaoh turned against him and wanted to kill him. But on the appeal of his wife, Sayyidah Asiya, he restrained himself and instead commanded him to go in exile. After that, Sayyidina Musa shifted to some hiding place and would come to the city of Egypt occasionally in hiding. Most commentators are of the opinion that by Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 15, the time of afternoon is meant when people generally take a siesta. So Musa struck him with his fist. Wakaza means to box. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 15. The phrase of kadahu and kada alayhi is used when one is totally finished. Hence, here it means that he killed him. Majari.
And he entered the city at a time of inattention by its people, and found therein two men fighting, one from his faction and one from among his enemy. And the one from his faction called for help to him against the one from his enemy. So Moses struck him and unintentionally killed him. Moses said, "This is from the work of Satan. Indeed, he is a manifest, misleading enemy."
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 14, for the Tafsir.
He said, "My Lord, indeed I have wronged myself, so forgive me." And he forgave him. Indeed, he is the forgiving, the merciful.
He said, "O my Lord, I have wronged myself, so forgive me." So he forgave him. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 16. The gist of this verse is that Sayyidina Musa regarded the killing of the infidel Qibti as a sin, despite the fact that it had happened without any intention on his part, because it was in conflict with his status of prophethood, and thus below his dignity. So he begged Allah's pardon for the act, which was duly granted. The first question that arises here is that this Qibti was an infidel combatant, harbi in the religious term. Hence, his killing was permissible and preferable, because he was neither a dhimmi, i.e. the citizen of an Islamic state, nor under any covenant with Musa. Then, why did Sayyidina Musa regarded it as sin and an act of shaitan? His killing should have been regarded as an act worth the reward, because the Qibti was harming a Muslim unjustly, and got killed in the process when Musa tried to save the life of the Muslim. The answer to this question is that covenants of peace are sometimes written or spoken in express words, and sometimes they come into effect by consistent practice of the parties that amounts to an implied agreement and is as good as a written covenant. Violation of the covenants of this type is also prohibited in Islam. The covenant established by practice can be understood by the example that if in a non-Islamic state Muslims and non-Muslims are living in harmony and there is no conflict between them, and any pillage or fighting with each other is regarded as treachery, then this consistent practice of coexistence would be regarded as an implied agreement for peaceful living, and its violation is not allowed. The proof of this principle can be found in a lengthy hadith of Sayyidina Mughir ibn Shaba that has been reported by Imam Bukhari in his book in the chapter entitled as Ashurat. The hadith runs like this: Sayyidina Mughir ibn Shaba had good relations with a group of infidels before the advent of Islam, and later he killed them and took possession of all their wealth. Then he went to the Holy Prophet and submitted to Islam and presented all that wealth to him. On this action the Holy Prophet said to him, "As far as your embracing Islam is concerned, I accept it, but I have nothing to do with this wealth." Abu Dawud has quoted this hadith like this: "As for wealth, we have no concern with it." The Holy Prophet declared in this hadith that he accepted his submission to Islam, but this wealth has been snatched by breach of trust and was a treachery. Hence he did not have any desire for this wealth. Hafiz ibn Hajar has observed in his commentary that this hadith has laid down the principle that grabbing of wealth of the infidels during peacetime is not permissible. It is for the simple reason that people living together in a city or township, or those who work together, regard themselves secured from each other. The agreement established through their practice is like a trust, which must be honored by each and every person, no matter whether he is a Muslim or an infidel. The property of infidels permitted for possession by the Muslims is only that which is acquired during the war with them. It is not permitted to grab the wealth of infidels during peacetime, when one feels secured from one another. Castellani has observed in his commentary on Bukhari as follows: "No doubt the wealth of infidels is permitted to take possession during war or jihad, but in peacetime it is not lawful. Therefore, any Muslim living and socializing with infidels in the manner that they are safe and secure for each other, for him it is unlawful to slay them or forcefully grab their wealth, unless the peace agreement established through practice is abrogated through an announcement." The gist of the discussion is that if the Qibti would have been killed with preconceived resolve in the presence of an implied peace agreement, it would not have been lawful. But Musa did not have the intention of killing the Qibti. He only hit him with his bare hands to save the Ismaili from his grip. In the normal course it should not have been fatal, but he died all the same by that blow. Then Musa I realized that a lighter blow would also have done the job of getting rid of him. Realizing that harder blow was not needed, he repented and invoked Allah's mercy. Special note: the above principle was explained to me by Sayyidi Maulana Ashraf Thanavi, may Allah have mercy on him, when I was writing the commentary of Surah Al-Qasas in Al-Quran, the Arabic commentary written under his supervision. It is the last academic discourse of Sayyidi from which I have benefited, as he had completed this work on Rajab 2, 1362a. And after that his sickness intensified, and on Rajab 16, 1362, he passed away. Some commentators have observed that although killing of the Kibti was permissible, but prophets take extra care in special cases, even in performing permissible acts, and avoid them, unless they receive a cue from Allah Ta'ala. On this occasion, Sayyidina Musa did not wait for the permission from Allah Ta'ala and acted on his own. Therefore, in view of his status as a prophet, he maintained that it was a sin on his part, and hence invoked Allah's pardon.
He said, "My Lord, for the favor you bestowed upon me, I will never be an assistant to the criminals."
Musa said, "O my Lord, since you have favored me, I will never be a supporter to the sinners." Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 17. When Allah Ta'ala pardoned the slip of Sayyidina Musa, he said in gratitude to Allah Ta'ala that he would never again help a criminal. The second incident of the quarrel had proved that the Israeli in whose defense Musa had involved himself in the brawl was quarrelsome. Therefore, by declaring him a criminal, he vowed not to help such a person again. Sayyidina Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, while explaining this verse, has maintained that the word criminal stands here for infidels. Qatada has also interpreted the verse in almost the same way. On the basis of these commentaries, it seems that actually the Israeli, whom Sayyidina Musa had defended, was not a Muslim, but he helped him considering that he was an oppressed person. Rulings. It is worth noting here that this saying of Musa has established two rulings about two issues. One, that even if an oppressed person is a sinner or infidel, he should be helped. The second ruling is that it is not permitted to help any criminal or oppressor. Scholars have argued on the basis of this verse that working in the employment of cruel rulers is also not permitted, for they too would be regarded as their associates. Many citations from the righteous Salaf elders have also been quoted in support of this argument. Ra'ul Ma'ani, to provide support to the oppressors or to the infidels, may take different forms. The different rulings about these forms are laid down in the books of fiqh in detail. This humble writer has also dealt with the subject in his Arabic book Al-Mukhtasar with greater elaboration. The scholars interested in the subject may consult it.
And he became inside the city fearful and anticipating exposure, when suddenly the one who sought his help the previous day cried out to him once again. Moses said to him, "Indeed, you are an evident, persistent deviator."
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 17, for the Tafsir.
And when he wanted to strike the one who was an enemy to both of them, he said, "O Moses, do you intend to kill me as you killed someone yesterday? You only want to be a tyrant in the land, and do not want to be of the amenders."
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 17, for the Tafsir.
And a man came from the farthest end of the city, running. He said, "O Moses, indeed the eminent ones are conferring over you, intending to kill you, so leave the city. Indeed, I am to you of the sincere advisers."
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 17, for the Tafsir.
So he left it, fearful and anticipating apprehension. He said, "My Lord, save me from the wrongdoing people."
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 17, for the Tafsir.
And when he directed himself toward Madian, he said, "Perhaps my Lord will guide me to the sound way."
Commentary. And when he set out towards Madian, Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 22. Madian is the name of a city in Sham, a large territory now consisting of Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, and Palestine, which was named after Madian, the son of Abraham. This area was outside the empire of the Pharaoh. It was 8 days' journey from Egypt. When Sayyidina Musa was taken over by the natural fright of the pursuing army of the Pharaoh, which was not in conflict either with the prophethood or with trust in Allah, he resolved to leave Egypt. Perhaps he decided to proceed toward Madian, because it was a habitation of the descendants of Sayyidina Ibrahim, and he was also his progeny. When Sayyidina Musa left Egypt, he was in a condition that he had neither any provisions for the journey nor any baggage, and also he did not know the route. In this state of helplessness, he turned to Allah Ta'ala and asked, "I hope my Lord will guide me to the straight path." Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 22. Allah Ta'ala accepted this prayer. Scholars have observed that the only food Musa had during this journey was the leaves of trees. Ibn Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, has said that this was the first trial and test of Sayyidina Musa. Details of trials and tests of Musa have already been described under Surah Taha while quoting a lengthy hadith.
And when he came to the well of Madian, he found there a crowd of people watering their flocks. And he found aside from them 2 women driving back their flocks. He said, "What is your circumstance?" They said, "We do not water until the shepherds dispatch their flocks, and our father is an old man."
And when he arrived at the waters of Madian, he found a large number of people watering their animals. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 23, Waters of Madian, refers to the well from where people of that place used to make their animals drink water. Found, aloof from them, 2 women keeping back their animals. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 23. That is, he saw 2 girls stopping their goats from going to the water, so that they did not get mixed up with other goats. He said, "What is the matter with you?" They said, "We cannot water our animals unless the shepherds bring their animals back, and our father is a very old man." Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 23. The word qat means matter. The sense is that say, Ibn Musa asked the 2 girls, "What was it that you were stopping your goats from coming to the well for drinking water like other goats?" The 2 girls answered that, in order to avoid mixing with men, folk, they used to make their goats wait until men had left the place after watering their animals. The question arose here whether they did not have any male member in the family to do this job. The girls answered this question on their own by saying that their father was very old and could not perform this job. This is why they were doing the job. Some very important points are learned by this incident. 1. That it was the practice of the prophets to help the weak. Sayyid ibn Musa saw that 2 girls had brought their goats for drinking water, but they were unable to find room because of the rush of people. Therefore, he asked them about their problem. 2. That there is no harm to talk to stranger women if no mischief is involved. 3. That although this incident had happened when hijab was not enjoined, a situation that continued even in the early days of Islam, hijab was enjoined in Medina after the Hijrah. But the underlying spirit of hijab, i.e. the natural instinct of modesty and bashfulness, was there even in those days. Because of this natural instinct, the 2 girls preferred hardship rather than getting mixed with menfolk. 4. That it was not considered desirable for women even in those days to go out and perform such type of duties. It was for this reason that they put forward the justification that their father was very old and weak.
So he watered their flocks for them. Then he went back to the shade and said, "My Lord, indeed I am, for whatever good you would send down to me, in need."
So he Musa watered their animal for their sake. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 24. That is, say, Ibn Musa took pity on the girls and drew out water from the well and satiated their goats. It is reported in some narrations that the shepherds, after making their cattle drink water, used to place a very heavy stone on the mouth of the well to make it unusable, and hence these girls would have only the leftover water for their herd. The stone was so heavy that 10 men together could move it, but Sayyid Musa removed it all by himself and drew water from the well. Perhaps for this reason one of the 2 girls reported to her father that say, Ibn Musa was very strong. Hutubai, then he turned to a shade and said, "O my Lord, I am in need of whatever good you send down to me." Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 24, say, Ibn Musa did not have any food for the last 7 days. He came under the shade of a tree and prayed to Allah, describing his condition and need in an exquisite manner. The word kar is sometimes used for wealth, as in the case of, "He leaves some wealth." Surah Al-Baqarah, Ayah 180. Sometimes it is used for strength, like they better were the people of Tella. Surah At-Dakin, Ayah 37, and sometimes for food, as in the verse under reference. Hutubai.
Then one of the 2 women came to him walking with shyness. She said, "Indeed, my father invites you, that he may reward you for having watered for us." So when he came to him and related to him the story, he said, "Fear not, you have escaped from the wrongdoing people."
Then one of the 2 women came to him walking with shyness. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 25. In accordance with Quranic practice, the story has been summarized here. The full story runs like this. When the 2 girls reached home earlier than usual, their father inquired the reason for that. So they related to him the whole incident. Their father thought that he should make up for the favor Musa had done to his daughters. Hence he asked one of his daughters to bring him with her. She went to Sayyidina Musa and talked to him with an element of modesty. This shows that despite the fact that hijab was not enjoined by then, good women would not talk to men freely. She went to him with a need, so she talked with shyness. Some commentators have given the detail of her shyness, that while talking she had raised her sleeve up to her face. The narrations, as related in commentaries, say that Musa had asked her to walk behind him and guide him from the back. The objective was that he could not cast his eye on her. Perhaps for this reason, she told her father about him to be trustworthy. Who was the father of these two girls? Commentators have different views on this subject, but Quranic verses allude that he was Say. Ibn Shu'aib, Surah Al-Araf, Ayah 85. Quatubai, my father is calling you, Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 25. It was possible at that time that the girl would have invited him on her own, but she did not do so. Instead, she conveyed her father's message to him, because it was against the modesty for a girl to invite a stranger at home.
One of the women said, "O my father, hire him. Indeed, the best one you can hire is the strong and the trustworthy."
The best man you hire is the one who is strong, trustworthy. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 26. One of the daughters of Sayyid Nishaid pleaded to her father that as he needed the services of a man to help him in his daily work at home, he might consider hiring him for this purpose. In support of her suggestion, she said further that two qualities are required in a servant. One, that he should be strong, and the second, that he should be trustworthy. The girl pointed out that she had seen his strength when he removed the stone from the mouth of the well, and his integrity when he made her walk behind him.
He said, "Indeed, I wish to wed you one of these, my two daughters, on the condition that you serve me for 8 years. But if you complete 10, it will be as a favor from you. And I do not wish to put you in difficulty. You will find me, if Allah wills, from among the righteous."
Two important conditions for hiring a person and assigning the job. Allah Ta'ala made the daughter of Sayyid Nishad say something of great wisdom. In the present setup of employment, great emphasis is laid at the time of interviews on scrutinizing the degrees and experience of a candidate, but no attention is paid to ascertain his integrity and trustworthiness. As a result of this, there is neither efficiency nor honesty of purpose in the offices. On the contrary, bribery and nepotism are so common that there seems to be no law in operation. If people could pay heed to this Quranic verse, many a problems would be solved automatically. He, the father, said to Musa, "I wish to marry one of these two daughters of mine to you on the condition that you serve me for 8 years. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 27. Sayyid Nishaib made the proposal of marriage of his daughter to Musa on his own. It shows that the guardian of girls need not wait for the proposal to come from the boy's side. If a suitable good match is available, the girl's guardian may take the lead, for this has been the practice of the prophets. To quote an example, Sayyidina Umar ibn Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, had offered his daughter, Sayyidina Hafsa, may Allah be pleased with him, for marriage to Sayyidina Abu Bakr, may Allah be pleased with him, and to Sayyidina Uthman, may Allah be pleased with him, when she became widow. Quatubai, one of these daughters of mine, Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 27. Sayyidina Shaib did not make the selection of one or the other girl for the proposal of marriage, rather he kept it vague. It was not the formal nikah that requires offer and acceptance in presence of 2 witnesses, but only a discussion to have his consent to work for 8 years in lieu of marriage with the girl. Sayyidina Musa agreed to the proposal and got married to one of the girls. The Holy Quran does not describe every detail of the story, the happening of which is obvious from the context. Therefore, it cannot be doubted here that without pinpointing the bride, and without the presence of witnesses, how the nikah was solemnized. Raut bayn ul-Qur, and on the condition that you serve me for 8 years, Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 27. 8 years service and employment was regarded the mar dower, the dower of marriage. Scholars have different points of view on the issue, whether a service rendered to one's wife can be taken as a valid mar dower or not. The subject is dealt with in detail in Al-Quran in Arabic language under Surah Al-Qasas. Those who are interested can study the details there. For the common man, it is enough to understand that if it is not allowed in the Muhammadi law, it might have been permitted in the code of law followed by Shaib. It is not uncommon to have minor differences in the laws, Sharia, brought by various prophets. Imam Abu Hanifa, may Allah have mercy on him, has ruled in his Zahira Riwayat that the service rendered for one's wife cannot be considered as a valid mar dower, but in a later ruling by the scholars, it is elaborated that though it is against the honor and dignity of husband to serve his wife in lieu of mar dower, but any duty performed outside the house, such as grazing of cattle or trading, can be made a substitute for it, provided a time frame is agreed upon beforehand, as was in the case of Sayyidina Musa, where the parties had agreed beforehand on 8 years' period of service. The reason is that the remuneration of the husband payable by his wife in this case will be treated as mar, dower, badai, from Nawadir ibn Sam'ah. Another question that arises here is that the mar, dower, is the right of wife, and if it is paid to her father or any other relative without her consent, it will be taken as not paid. In this incident, the words are a proof enough that Shahid had hired him for his duty. So, the benefit of service went to him. In that situation, how could this be regarded as mar, dower, of the wife? The answer to this question is that it is quite probable that the herd of goats was the property of the girls, and therefore the benefit of service went to his wife. Alternatively, if the goats belonged to the father and the wages were due from him, then the money of the wages payable by the father belonged to the wife, as her mar, dower. It is lawful for a father to spend the money of his daughter with her permission. It is quite obvious that this whole deal was carried out with the consent of the girl. Ruling. The word, "I wish to marry with you," has proved that the father had arranged the nikah. Jurists are unanimous that it should be done as such. It is the father's duty and privilege to make arrangements of daughter's marriage. A girl should not arrange her own marriage. But there is difference of opinion between jurists on the issue whether the nikah is lawful or not if a girl arranges her own marriage due to some need or pressure. Imam Abu Hanifa, may Allah have mercy on him, has ruled that it is lawful. However, this verse is silent on the issue.
Moses said, "That is established between me and you. Whichever of the two terms I complete, there is no injustice to me, and Allah, over what we say, is witness."
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 27, for the Tafsir.
And when Moses had completed the term and was traveling with his family, he perceived from the direction of the mount a fire. He said to his family, "Stay here. Indeed, I have perceived a fire. Perhaps I will bring you from there some information or burning wood from the fire that you may warm yourselves."
Commentary. So when Musa completed the term Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 29, then Sayyidina Musa completed his term of service, which was 8 years compulsory and 2 years optional. A question arises here, whether he completed 8 years of service or 10 years. Sahih al-Bukhari has reported that when this question was put to Sayyidina Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, he answered 10 years, and added that prophets always fulfill their commitments, rather they do more than what they agree to. The Holy Prophet was also in the habit of giving more than due to the one having a right. He has also advised the Ummah to be selfless and considerate in the matters of employment, wages, and business dealings.
But when he came to it, he was called from the right side of the valley in a blessed spot, from the tree, "O Moses, indeed I am Allah, Lord of the worlds."
He was called by a voice coming from a side of the right valley in the blessed ground, from the tree, saying, "O Musa, I am Allah, the Lord of the worlds." Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 30. This subject was also mentioned in Surahs Taha and An-Naml in the story of Musa. In Surah Taha it is said, "It is me your Lord." Surah Taha, Ayah 12. And in Surah An-Naml, so when he came to it, he was called, "Blessed is the one who is in the fire." Surah An-Naml, Ayah 8. While in the present Surah Al-Qasas it appears as, "I am Allah, the Lord of the worlds." Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 30. Although the wordings are slightly different here, yet the meanings are almost the same. The incident is related in the words which suited to the situation being described. The refulgence that Sayyidina Musa had seen in the form of fire was only in the form of an example, mithali, because it is impossible for a worldly being to see the actual refulgence of Allah Ta'ala. Musa is called Surah Al-Raf, Ayah 143. You will never see me in respect of actual refulgence. The place also becomes auspicious if righteous deeds are performed there. In the blessed ground Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 30, the Holy Quran has termed the Mount Tur as blessed ground. It is obvious that the reason of its being auspicious is the refulgence of Allah Ta'ala, which was manifested at that spot in the form of fire. It proves that if something virtuous happens at a place, that particular spot also turns auspicious.
And he was told, "Throw down your staff." But when he saw it writhing as if it was a snake, he turned in flight and did not return. Allah said, "O Moses, approach and fear not. Indeed, you are of the secure."
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 30, for the Tafsir.
Insert your hand into the opening of your garment. It will come out white, without disease. And draw in your arm close to you as prevention from fear. For those are two proofs from your Lord to Pharaoh and his establishment. Indeed, they have been a people defiantly disobedient.
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 30, for the Tafsir.
He said, My Lord, indeed I killed from among them someone, and I fear they will kill me.
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 30, for the Tafsir.
And my brother Aaron is more fluent than me in tongue, so send him with me as support, verifying me. Indeed, I fear that they will deny me.
A sermon to the high degree of eloquence. He is more fluent in his tongue. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 34. This verse points out that a high degree of oratory and eloquence is desirable for sermons and preaching, and there is no harm if one takes training in that.
Allah said, We will strengthen your arm through your brother, and grant you both supremacy so they will not reach you. It will be through our signs. You and those who follow you will be the predominant.
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 34 for the Tafsir.
But when Moses came to them with our signs as clear evidences, they said, This is not except invented magic, and we have not heard of this religion among our forefathers.
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 34 for the Tafsir.
And Moses said, My Lord is more knowing than we or you of who has come with guidance from him, and to whom will be succession in the home. Indeed, wrongdoers do not succeed.
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 34 for the Tafsir.
And Pharaoh said, O eminent ones, I have not known you to have a god other than me. Then ignite for me, O Haman, a fire upon the clay, and make for me a tower that I may look at the God of Moses. And indeed, I do think he is among the liars.
Commentary. So kindle for me, O Haman, a fire on the clay to bake bricks. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 38. When the Pharaoh planned to build a very tall palace for himself, he asked his minister Haman to get the bricks baked properly first, because half-baked bricks could not take the load of a tall building. Some people have observed that the Pharaoh was the first one to have tough bricks baked for the buildings, as no one had used them before. Historical narrations have recorded that Haman had collected 50,000 masons for building this palace. Skilled labor, such as carpenters and blacksmiths, were additional. This palace was built so tall that there was no parallel to it in the world. When it was completed, Allah Ta'ala commanded Jibril to knock it down. He struck only one blow to it, and it tumbled down in 3 pieces, killing thousands of soldiers of the Pharaoh's army. Hutu, by.
And he was arrogant, he and his soldiers, in the land, without right, and they thought that they would not be returned to us.
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 38, for the Tafsir.
So we took him and his soldiers and threw them into the sea. So see how was the end of the wrongdoers.
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 38 for the Tafsir.
And we made them leaders, inviting to the fire, and on the day of resurrection they will not be helped.
And we had made them leaders who called people towards hell. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 41. Allah Ta'ala had elevated the courtiers of the Pharaoh as leaders of their people, but these wrongdoers were busy inviting the people towards fire Jahannam. Most commentators have taken the expression invitation to fire as a metaphor. That is, by fire the allusion is toward evil deeds that will result in burning in the fire of Jahannam. But according to the work of my respected teacher say, Ibn Maulana say, in Muhammad Anwar Shah Kashmiri, may Allah have mercy on him, the reward of the hereafter is the deed itself. One's deeds in this world will change their forms first in Barzakh, and then in Moshar. The righteous deeds will change into flowers and gardens and take the shape of the bounties of paradise, and the evil deeds will turn into snakes and scorpions, ultimately manifesting themselves in various types of torments. Therefore, if someone invites anyone in this world toward evil and infidelity, he in fact is bidding him to go into the fire. Although these evils do not manifest themselves in this world as fire, yet in reality they're fire. Thus there is no metaphor in the verse, and it rests with its true meaning. If this course of argument is adopted in explaining the verses of Quran, then many of them will get rid of dependence on metaphors, and it will make the reading easy and straightforward. For instance, and they will find what they did all their Surah Al-Qaf, Ayah 49, or whoever does good to the measure of a particle will see it. Surah Al-Sola, Ayah 7, mm.
And we cause to overtake them in this world a curse, and on the day of resurrection they will be of the despised.
And on the day of judgment they will be among those treated badly. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 42. Makbuhin is the plural of makba, which means spoiled, damaged, or disfigured. Thus the meaning of the verse is that on the doomsday their faces will be disfigured to turn black, and eyes will turn blue.
And we gave Moses the scripture, after we had destroyed the former generations, as enlightenment for the people, and guidance and mercy that they might be reminded.
Commentary. And we gave Musa, after we destroyed the earlier generations, the book having insights for people. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 43. The words earlier generations refer to the people of Nuh, Hud, Salil, and Lut, who were destroyed before the time of Sayyidina Musa because of their denial of truth. Basir is the plural of Basira, whose literal meaning is sagacity, insight, and discernment. Here it is purported for that light or effulgence, which Allah Ta'ala bestows in the hearts of people, with which they find out the truth and discern the distinction between right and wrong. Majari, if the word nas, people, is used in the phrase Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 43, insights for people, for the people of Sayyidina Musa, then the meaning of the verse is quite clear. No doubt for the people of Sayyidina Musa Torah was the book of wisdom. But if the word is used for all people in whom the Ummah of Muhammad is also included, then the question would arise that the Torah, which is available to the Ummah of Muhammad, is not the original one. In this Torah many changes have taken place. So, how could this Torah be regarded as a book of wisdom for them? Moreover, it will mean that the Muslims too should benefit from the Torah. While there is a well-known hadith at Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, once sought permission from the Holy Prophet for reading Torah, so that he could improve his knowledge and benefit from the injunctions contained in it. On this the Holy Prophet got angry and said that if Sayyidina Musa was alive, he too would have been required to follow him. The essence of this retort is that Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, should concentrate only on his teachings, and that he was not required to look into the teachings of Torah or Injil. It is worth reminding here that it was the time when revelation of Quran was still continuing, and in order to eliminate any possibility of mingling of hadith with the Quranic text, the Holy Prophet had advised some of his companions to stop writing even the hadith. Under such a situation, it is obvious that reading of a cancelled divine book was not expedient. It therefore does not necessarily follow that reading of Torah and Injil is banned for all times. On the contrary, reading and quoting by the companions of that part of these books in which coming of the Holy Prophet was predicted is well established. Say, Ibn Abdullah ibn Salam and Ka'b however, may Allah be pleased with him, are quite well known for this. Other companions also did not raise a finger against it. The bottom line of this discussion is that it is allowed to benefit from the unaltered part of these books, which no doubt contains wisdom. But only those could draw any benefit from this who can distinguish between the altered and unaltered parts of the books, and they are the expert scholars. A common man should avoid such an exercise, lest he gets entangled in a quandary. The same ruling is applicable to all those books that are a mixture of right and wrong.
And you, O Muhammad, were not on the western side of the mount when we revealed to Moses the command, and you were not among the witnesses to that.
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 43, for the Tafsir.
But we produced many generations after Moses, and prolonged was their duration. And you were not a resident among the people of Madian, reciting to them our verses, but we were senders of this message.
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 43, for the Tafsir.
And you were not at the side of the mount when we called Moses, but were sent as a mercy from your Lord to warn a people to whom no warner had come before you, that they might be reminded.
So that you warn a people to whom no warner has come before. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 46. The expression "a people" is purported here for the Arabs, who are the progeny of Sayyidina Ismail. No prophet was sent to this people after Sayyidina Ismail until the Holy Prophet was sent. The same subject will follow in Surah Yasin. But this verse is not in conflict with the other verse. There is no community, but there has come a warner among them. Surah Fatir, Ayah 24. What the present verse means here is that there was no prophet in this people for a long time after Ismail. But after the arrival of the Holy Prophet this void was filled up.
And if not that a disaster should strike them for what their hands put forth of sins, and they would say, Our Lord, why did you not send us a messenger, so we could have followed your verses and been among the believers?
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 46, for the Tafsir.
But when the truth came to them from us, they said, Why was he not given like that which was given to Moses? Did they not disbelieve in that which was given to Moses before? They said, They are but two works of magic supporting each other, and indeed we are in both disbelievers.
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 46, for the Tafsir.
Say, then bring a scripture from Allah which is more guiding than either of them, that I may follow it, if you should be truthful.
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 46, for the Tafsir.
But if they do not respond to you, then know that they only follow their own desires. And who is more astray than one who follows his desire without guidance from Allah? Indeed, Allah does not guide the wrongdoing people.
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 46, for the Tafsir.
And we have repeatedly conveyed to them the Qur'an, that they might be reminded.
And we have conveyed our words to them one after the other, so that they may take to advice. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 51. The word wasalna is derived from tassel, which literally means to strengthen the rope by adding more strings to its strands. Here it means that Allah Ta'ala has maintained the continuity of guidance. Certain advisory subjects are repeated in the Quran in order to make them more effective. Certain rules for preaching. It shows that an important trait of preaching carried out by the prophets was that they used to convey the truth to people continuously. Rejection and falsifying of truth did not deter them at all from their mission. Instead, if someone did not listen to them the first time, they repeated it a second time, and if they did not succeed even the second time, they used to reiterate it a third time, and so on, without showing any sign of exhaustion. It is true that no preacher or sympathizer has power to change one's heart, but what the prophets could do was to keep on making their efforts without being disheartened or exhausted. Even today the same principle applies, and those who preach should take a serious note of it.
Those to whom we gave the scripture before it, they are believers in it.
Commentary. As for those to whom we gave the book before this, they believe in it. Quran, Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 52. In this verse those people of the book are mentioned who had faith in the prophethood of the Holy Prophet and revelation of the Quran on the basis of the prophecies given by Torah and Injil, even before the coming of the Holy Prophet and the Quran. Thus they converted to Islam when the Holy Prophet announced his prophethood. Sayyidina ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, has reported that 40 courtiers of the king Najashi of Habsha, Ethiopia, came to Medina when the Holy Prophet was busy in the Battle of Khaybar. They also joined the jihad, and some got wounded, but none was killed. When they noticed the economic hardship of the companions, they told the Holy Prophet that they were, by the grace of Allah, quite wealthy, and sought his permission to bring some of it when they would come next. On this occasion this verse was revealed, Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 52-54. Marduya Tabrani, Majari, Sayyidina Said ibn Jubair, may Allah be pleased with him, has narrated that when Sayyidina Ja'far, may Allah be pleased with him, had gone to Habsha before the Hijrah to Medina, and presented the teachings of Islam in the court of Najashi. At that time Najashi and many of his courtiers, who were people of the book, had submitted to Islam, as Allah Ta'ala had put faith in their hearts. Majari.
And when it is recited to them, they say, We have believed in it. Indeed, it is the truth from our Lord. Indeed, we were even before it Muslims submitting to Allah.
Is the word Muslim restricted to the Ummah of Muhammad, or it is common to all Ummahs? And we are the ones who submitted to it, even before it was revealed. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 53. The word used by these people of the book for their submission is Muslims, which may also be translated as we were Muslims even before the revelation of Quran. If the word Muslim is taken here in its literal meaning, submissive or obedient, then the meaning is quite clear that the faith they had in Quran and the Holy Prophet because of their books is referred here by the use of words Islam and Muslims in its literal sense of submission. But if the word Muslim is taken in the same meaning in which it is regarded as appellation of the Ummah of Muhammad, then it will signify that the words Islam and Muslim are not restricted to Ummah of Muhammad alone, that they are common to the Ummahs of all the prophets. But some verses of Quran suggest that words Islam and Muslim are special names of the Ummah of Muhammad. For example, the assertion of Sayyidina Ibrahim, recorded by the Quran itself. He named you as Muslims, Surah Al-Hajj, Ayah 78. Allama Sayyidi favors this course of argument and has written a book on the subject in support for his contention. He has explained this verse, advocating that the word Muslimin is used here in the sense that we were ready and prepared to accept Islam even before. If one looks at the issue deeply, there is no conflict in the two versions. It is possible that Islam is the common attribute of the religion of all the prophets in its literal sense, and at the same time it is a special appellation of the Ummah of Muhammad. It is like the appellations of Siddiq and Farrukh that are exclusive for Abu Bakr and Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, in the context of Ummah of Muhammad, but otherwise these words can apply to anyone else also falling within the scope of their attributive meaning.
Those will be given their reward twice for what they patiently endured, and because they avert evil through good, and from what we have provided them they spend.
Such people will be given their reward twice. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 54. That is, the believers who are also people of the book will be rewarded twice. A similar promise is made for the wives of the Holy Prophet, and whoever from among you stands in obedience to Allah and His Messenger and does righteous deeds, we will give her her reward twice. Surah Al-Azib, Ayah 31. In a hadith of Sahih al-Bukhari, 3 types of persons are mentioned for double reward. 1. Those people of the book who had faith in their prophets initially, and then developed faith in the Holy Prophet. 2. The slave who is submissive and obedient to Allah Ta'ala and His Messenger and also to his master. 3. The one who owned a slave girl with whom he was allowed intercourse, but he freed her and made her his formal wife by performing nikah. The point worth consideration in this verse is the cause for which these categories of Muslims are given their reward twice. One cause could be that they have done 2 good deeds for which they are entitled to double reward. In all these 3 cases there are 2 good deeds involved. In the case of believers, 2 good deeds are faith in their own prophet first, and then in the Holy Prophet and the Quran. In the case of the wives of the Holy Prophet, 2 good deeds are that they loved and obeyed the Holy Prophet both as a prophet and as husband. As for the owner of the slave girl, his first good deed is to free her, and the second to marry her. But this explanation may be subjected to the objection that 2 rewards for 2 good deeds are applicable to all, according to norms of justice. So where is the distinction for the people of the book or believers, and the wives of the Holy Prophet or the master of the slave girl? Keeping this objection in view, I have answered the original question in another way which is fully described in my book Al-Quran under Surah Al-Qasas. According to that explanation, it is apparent by the wording of Quran that in all these examples, the relevant persons will not get 2 rewards for 2 deeds, but they will get double reward for each single deed, because the principle of 2 rewards for 2 deeds is applicable to all. According to the express declaration of the Quran, I do not let go to waste the labor of a worker from you. Surah Al-Imran, Ayah 195. That is, Allah Ta'ala does not waste deeds of any one of you. In fact, one will get reward for every single good deed he performs. Therefore, the double reward contemplated for all these types is that for every single good deed they will be awarded double the reward. For instance, they will be given 2 rewards for a single prayer, 2 rewards for a single charity, and 2 rewards for each one good deed like fasting, performing Hajj, etc. If one contemplates on the wordings of Quran, he will note that for giving 2 rewards the appropriate word was 2 rewards, but instead of that Quran has used the word they reward twice. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 54, in which there is a clear hint that all their good deeds will be written twice and they will get double the reward for each one of them. As for the reason why these people have been chosen for such an extraordinary reward, the straight answer is that it is Allah Ta'ala's prerogative to declare any deed preferable or superior to other deeds, and enhance its reward. No one has the right to question as to why He has enhanced the reward for a particular act as compared to the other, or why has He increased the reward of fasting while He has not done so in the case of zakah and charity. It is possible that the pedestal of deeds mentioned in the verse under reference in the hadith of Bukhari is higher in the sight of Allah in comparison to other deeds, and hence double the reward. Some prominent scholars have given the reason of this preference that they require excessive effort and hardship. This explanation is also probable, and the word, because they observed patience, towards the end of this verse can be taken as a proof for the argument that the ground for double reward is their endurance on hardship. Only Allah knows best, and they repel evil with good. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 54. The scholars have made different assertions while explaining evil and good deed as they are contemplated in this verse. Some have explained that good deed stands here for obedience and evil for sin, and the sense is that every good deed wipes out the sin, as is maintained in a hadith in which the Holy Prophet said to say, Ibn Mu'ad ibn Jabal, may Allah be pleased with him, perform a good deed after an evil deed, and it will wipe out the evil. According to this interpretation, the verse is praising these people, that whenever they commit an evil act by mistake, they wipe it out by doing some good act. Some others are of the opinion that hasana, good deed, in this verse is used for knowledge and serenity, and sayya for ignorance and negligence. Thus it means that these people respond to the ignorant acts of others with serenity and forbearance, and not with a similar ignorance. As a matter of fact, there is no contradiction in these explanations, because the words hasanat and sayyi'ah, that is virtue and evil, encompass all these things. There are two important advices in this verse. Firstly, if someone commits a sin, its best remedy is that he should look for doing something good. The virtuous deed becomes expiation for the sin, as quoted in the hadith of Sayyidina Mu'ad above. Secondly, if a person behaves with someone badly, the wronged one is within his right to take revenge, provided he does not exceed the wrong done to him. However, it is much better for him that, instead of taking revenge, he returns the cruelty with kindness and the evil with virtue. It is an act of high degree of nobility of character. There are innumerable benefits in such an act, both in this world and in the hereafter. In another Quranic verse this advice is given in very clear words, repel with that which is fair, and behold, he between whom and me there is enmity shall be as if he were a loyal friend. Surah Fussilat, Ayah 34. It means that one should act kindly in return of cruelty. In this way his foe will become a sincere friend.
And when they hear ill speech, they turn away from it and say, For us are our deeds, and for you are your deeds. Peace will be upon you. We seek not the ignorant.
Peace be on you. We do not seek the way of the ignorant. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 55. These people have a good quality in that when they hear something stupid from an ignorant foe, they simply say salam instead of giving a reply. They do not entangle themselves with the ignorant. Imam Jassas, may Allah have mercy on him, has said that there are two kinds of salams. One is for salutation, as Muslims do to one another. The other type is for musalama, adopting peaceful attitude with others, and mutaraka, to avoid debate, which is to convey to one's adversary that he does not wish to take note of the latter's stupidity. At this place the latter meaning is intended.
Indeed, O Muhammad, you do not guide whom you like, but Allah guides whom He wills, and He is most knowing of the rightly guided.
Commentary. The word hidayah, guidance, is used for several meanings. One meaning is to show the path, which does not necessarily mean that the one shown the path will reach his destination. Another meaning of hidayah is to make one reach his destination. According to first meaning of the word, it is but obvious that the Holy Prophet and all other prophets were guides, and that imparting guidance was within their control, because it was the obligation of their duty. If they did not have the control over imparting guidance, how could they fulfill their obligation? Therefore, the statement made in this verse that he did not have control over guidance relate to the second meaning of this word, that is to make one reach his destination. It means that it was not his duty or obligation to put faith in one's heart in order to make him convert to Islam by his teachings and preaching. This is in the control of Allah Ta'ala only. The meaning and types of hidayah have already been discussed in detail under Surah Al-Baqarah. Sahih Muslim has reported that this verse was revealed about the Holy Prophet, his uncle, Abu Talib. It was his great desire that Abu Talib should accept the faith. It was for this desire that he was advised that it was not within his control to put faith in anybody's heart. It is observed in Ra'ul Ma'ani that one should abstain from discussing or passing judgment unnecessarily on the subject of acceptance of faith or otherwise by Abu Talib, because this may hurt the Holy Prophet as feelings for his natural love toward his uncle.
And they say, if we were to follow the guidance with you, we would be swept from our land. Have we not established for them a safe sanctuary, to which are brought the fruits of all things as provision from us, but most of them do not know.
Commentary. And they said, if we follow the guidance with you, O Muhammad, we will be driven out of our land. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 57. Harith ibn Uthman and other infidels of Mecca put forward one of the reasons for their non-acceptance of faith, that although they believed that his teachings were based on truth, but they feared that if they followed him, the entire people of Arabia would turn against them, and as a consequence they will be driven out of their land. Nas, etc. The Holy Quran has given 3 answers to their lame excuse. 1. Is it not that we have established them in the peaceful harmed sanctuary, to which the fruits of everything are drawn as a provision from us? Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 57. That is, this excuse of theirs is false, because Allah Ta'ala had already made special arrangements for the safety of the people of Makkah by making its land haram. All the tribes of Arabia, despite their mutual feuds and infidelity, were unanimous on the point that killing and feuds were strictly prohibited on the land of Makkah. If a killer father met a son in the haram, despite extremely strong feelings of revenge, he could not raise his hand against him. It was just not possible for anyone to kill or harm his enemy on the ground of haram. Therefore, it was not at all a convincing excuse for not converting to faith. How was it possible that the Creator of everything would let them die as a believer when He had made arrangement for their safety in haram even as infidels? Yahya ibn Salam has explained this verse as, you were safe and secure because of haram, and were enjoying the sustenance provided by me in plenty, still you used to worship others instead of me. You did not get worried over this situation of yours, and on the contrary got worried over conversion to faith in me. By in this verse 2 qualities of haram are described. 1. That it is a place of peace, and the other, that fruits from different parts of the world were brought there. Availability of all types of produce in haram of Makkah is a special divine gift. Allah Ta'ala chose Makkah Mukarramah out of the whole world to establish the Kaaba in haram. In terms of its environment and geography, it is a region where, under the normal circumstances, hardly any economic or commercial goods and activity should have existed. Even the basic staple agricultural products like wheat, rice, gram and sundry cereals were not cultivated before on a significant scale, let alone its variety of vegetables, though in recent years there has been some emphasis from the Saudi government toward their cultivation. Yet everything is available there in such an abundance that one gets amazed. During the period of Hajj, some 2 million people are drawn from all over the world and stay there for an average of 1 month. It has never been heard that any scarcity of food items was ever experienced there. On the contrary, everyone can witness that cooked and prepared food to cater for all types of races and people is readily available all the time. If we ponder over Quranic words, which say fruits of everything, a question arises that fruits are the product of trees. So it would have been apt to say, fruits of every tree, rather than fruits of everything. Therefore, it is quite likely that the word everything used here encompasses the produce and products of all kind, including agricultural produce. For instance, the produce of industrial factories is also their fruit. Hence, the gist of the discussion is that not only food items, but also all sorts of things of human need would be made available in Makkah. Anyone visiting Makkah, either for Hajj or Umrah, can confirm that everything produced anywhere in the world is readily available there. This was one reply to the excuse put forward by the infidels of Makkah, and the gist of the reply was that the Lord, who had been so kind to them that He had made available all the bounties of the world in their city, despite the fact that they are not produced there, and who had made the city completely free of risk and danger, it is the worst kind of ignorance to presume about Him that He would deprive them of these benefits if they would believe in Him.
And how many a city have we destroyed that was insolent in its way of living? And those are their dwellings which have not been inhabited after them except briefly, and it is we who were the inheritors.
The second reply to their excuse is given in the next verse. And how many a town have we destroyed that were overproud of their means of living? Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 58. In this reply, it is stressed that they should recall the plight of other infidel people of the world, how their habitations, strong forts, and all means of their protection were destroyed because of their infidelity and rejection of the truth. That they should actually fear is their infidelity in associating others with Allah, which is the real cause of destruction. How foolish and ill-informed they were that they feared faith, and not the denial of truth and infidelity. The third reply was given in the following verse, and whatever thing you are given is the enjoyment of the worldly life. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 60. Here it is explained that just in case they did get involved in some sort of trouble as a result of accepting faith, it would last only for a few days. Just as mundane wealth and comfort is temporary and would last for a short time only, worldly troubles are also transient and short-lived. Therefore, the wisdom lies in that one should seek and care for the comfort and happiness that is lasting. If one has to suffer trouble for a short time for the sake of permanent and everlasting wealth and comfort, it is well worth it. Which were never inhabited after them except a few. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 56. The habitations of the earlier people, which were destroyed by the divine torment, still lie uninhabited, with the exception of a few. If the exemption, except a few, is taken for those living there and the places destroyed, as Zajjaj has construed it, then the meaning would be that those places could never get inhabited, except a few that are inhabited. But Sayyidina Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, has given another explanation of the verse. According to his interpretation, the exemption is not for the place and houses, but for the time. Thus the meaning would be that even if someone lives there, it is for a short time, like travelers, who cannot be regarded as permanent residents.
And never would your Lord have destroyed the cities until He had sent to their mother a messenger reciting to them our verses. And we would not destroy the cities except while their people were wrongdoers.
Unless He sends to their central place a messenger. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 59. Popular meaning of the word is mother, and since mother is the very basis of human creation, hence the word is also used extensively for origin, base, and foundation. The pronoun ha, translated above as there, refers back to the towns, and mother of the towns means the central town. The meaning of the verse is that Allah Ta'ala does not destroy a people unless He had sent His message through His messengers in their main cities. When the invitation to truth had reached, and yet people did not accept it, only then the torment is sent on those cities. This verse has pointed out that Allah's messengers and prophets are generally sent in big cities, and not in smaller towns, because such towns are normally under the influence of big cities, both for their economic and educational needs. If something is known in a big city, it becomes known automatically in the smaller towns around it. Hence, when a prophet is sent in a big city and he starts his call to the truth, the message is spread out in the surrounding towns in no time. This way Allah Ta'ala's message reaches to all and sundry, and if they reject the message of truth, the torment is sent to all of them. Small towns and villages are subject to the same laws as are applicable to the main cities. As in the case of economic needs, the smaller habitations are dependent on cities, and draw their requirements from there. Similarly, when a law or an order is promulgated in the city, it automatically becomes effective in the surrounding towns and villages also. The excuse of having no knowledge of the law is not acceptable. In the case of sighting of the moon for observing Ramadan and Eids, Shawwal and Dhul Hijjah, too, the same principle has been declared by the jurists as applicable. That is, if the evidence of witnesses in the city establishes the sighting of moon, then the people of towns and villages will have to follow the same. But in the case of other cities, it would only apply when the Qadi of that city accepts the evidence and makes the announcement. Al-Fata al-Kathiyya.
And whatever thing you people have been given, it is only for the enjoyment of worldly life and its adornment. And what is with Allah is better and more lasting. So will you not use reason?
And that which is with Allah is much better and far more lasting. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 60. That is, the mundane wealth and comforts are all mortal, but the recompense one would get in the hereafter for the good deeds done in the world is much superior and everlasting as compared to the temporary worldly wealth and comforts. The best of comforts of this world are no match to the bounties of the hereafter. Then, no matter how attractive mundane comforts are, they are but temporary. As against that, the bounties of the hereafter will last forever. There is no doubt that anyone having some sense would prefer the better comforts in the ones that will last forever, rather than the short-lived temporary ones. The sign of prudence is that one does not involve himself too much in worldly matters and cares more for the hereafter. Imam Shafi'i, may Allah have mercy on him, has said that if a person bequeaths his wealth and property to be given to the wisest men, then the beneficiaries of such a will are those busy in worshipping and obeying Allah Ta'ala, because what they are doing is the demand of wisdom, and no doubt they are the wisest among worldly people. This ruling is also mentioned in Ad-Dur al-Mukhtar, the famous book of Hanafi school. See its chapter on Wasiyah.
Then is he whom we have promised a good promise, which he will obtain, like he for whom we provided enjoyment of worldly life, but then he is, on the day of resurrection, among those presented for punishment in hell?
Commentary. The very first question infidels and disbelievers will be asked at the tumultuous place, Moshar, will be about shirk, associating someone else with Allah, that is, where are those shaitans today, whom you used to associate with us? Can they provide you any help today? In response to these queries, the disbelievers would say that it was not a fault of theirs, as they did not associate them with Allah on their own. It was the shaitan who deluded them. Then Allah Ta'ala would ask the shaitans to say if they had anything in their defense, who, while accepting their role of deceit, would plead that they only misled them but did not force them to act upon the same. Thus, the shaitans would confess that they did commit the crime, but the infidels too were not free from its commission, because just as they led them astray, similarly at the same time, the prophets and their deputies also guided them towards the right path with sound arguments, making the truth crystal clear to them. They rejected the truth presented by the prophets and instead listened to us using their free will and discretion. So, how could they be free from the blame? It proves that if someone chooses to follow those who wish to put him on the wrong path on his own good will, despite the fact that he has before him clear-cut arguments against them in the righteous way to follow, then he has no excuse to offer.
And warn of the day he will call them and say, "Where are my partners which you used to claim?"
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 61, for the Tafsir.
Those upon whom the word will have come into effect will say, "Our Lord, these are the ones we led to error. We led them to error just as we were in error. We declare our dissociation from them to you. They did not use to worship us."
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 61, for the Tafsir.
And it will be said, "Invoke your partners," and they will invoke them, but they will not respond to them, and they will see the punishment. If only they had followed guidance.
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 61, for the Tafsir.
And mention the day he will call them and say, "What did you answer the messengers?"
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 61, for the Tafsir.
But the information will be unapparent to them that day, so they will not be able to ask one another.
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 61, for the Tafsir.
But as for one who had repented, believed, and done righteousness, it is promised by Allah that he will be among the successful.
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 61, for the Tafsir.
And your Lord creates what He wills and chooses. Not for them was the choice. Exalted is Allah, and high above what they associate with Him.
Commentary. And your Lord creates what He wills and chooses. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 68. According to one interpretation of this verse, the choice referred to here is Allah's choice with regard to the divine commands, and the sense is that as Allah Ta'ala is unique in the creation of the universe and no one is His partner, so is He in the issuance of His commands. He can give out any command to His creatures. But Imam Badawi, in his commentary, and Ulama ibn al-Qayyim, may Allah have mercy on him, in the preface of Zad al-Ma'ad have adopted another interpretation according to which the choice of Allah Ta'ala, as envisaged in this verse, relates to the prerogative of Allah Ta'ala, by which He selects anyone from His creatures for His favors. According to Badawi, this was the reply given to the infidels of Mecca on their observation, "Why was this Quran not sent down upon some men of moment in the two cities?" Surah Az-Zukhruf, Ayah 31, that is, if Allah had wished to reveal this Quran, He should have revealed it on some dignitary of Makkah or Taif, so that he should have had respect and reverence. What was the wisdom in revealing it on a poor orphan? In answer to this suggestion, it is said in the present verse that it is the prerogative of the Lord of the Universe, who has created all the creatures without any help or partner, to select any one from His creatures for the special favors He wishes to confer. It is not for you to suggest whom He should or should not select, nor is He bound to listen to your suggestions. Giving preference to one thing over the other or to one person over the other, and determination of correct standard of preference are all divine prerogatives. Hafiz ibn al-Qayyim has drawn an outstanding rule from this verse that the preference given to places and things in this world are not achieved by them with their own efforts or deeds, but it is the result of direct selection and prerogative of the Creator of the universe. He has created 7 skies, out of which he has given preference to highest sky over others, although the material of all is the same. Similarly, he has given preference to Jan and Al-Firdaus over all other parts of the Jannah. Then he preferred Jibril, Mikael, Israfil, etc. over all other angels, and has placed prophets on highest pedestal among the humans. And among the prophets has given preference to more resolute ones over all other prophets. Then among the resolute, he has given preference to his Khalil Ibrahim and Habib Muhammad over all other resolute prophets. Then preference is given to progeny of Ismail over all other people of the world. Then to Quraysh among the progeny of Ismail, and to Bani Hashim over all the Quraysh. And finally to Sayyidina Muhammad Mustafa over entire Bani Hashim. Similarly, the preference given to companions of the Holy Prophet and other elders of the Ummah is all under the control and prerogative of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the result of his selection. In the same way, many places of the world are preferred over other places, and many days and nights have preference over the normal days and nights. In short, the original standard of preference in the entire universe is his prerogative and selection. However, at times, human acts may also become a cause of preference in the sense that those performing righteous acts are preferred over the others, and the places where such people live or perform virtuous acts may also acquire preference over other places. This preference can be gained by sincerity of effort and righteous deeds. The gist of this discussion is that the basis of preference in the world is dependent on two things. One is beyond one's control and rests entirely on the selection of Allah Ta'ala, and the other is within the ability of human beings and may be achieved by righteous deeds and superior morals. Allama ibn al-Qayyim, may Allah have mercy on him, has deliberated in great detail on this subject and has concluded that the four rightly guided caliphs have precedence over all other companions of the Prophet. Then Sayyidina Abu Bakr, may Allah be pleased with him, has preference over other three caliphs. After that, Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him, has preference over the other two. And Sayyidina Uthman, may Allah be pleased with him, over Sayyidina Ali, may Allah be pleased with him. He has proved this sequence with the help of two standards discussed above. Shah Abdul Aziz Dalavi, may Allah have mercy on him, has also written a booklet on this subject in Persian language, which I have translated in Urdu and Arabic. Urdu translation has been published under the title, and Arabic translation is included in my book Ahkam al-Qur'an, under Surah Al-Qasas. This is a research work that would be of interest to scholars.
And your Lord knows what their breasts conceal and what they declare.
See Surah Al-Qasas ayat 68 for the tafsir.
And He is Allah, there is no deity except Him. To Him is due all praise in the first life and the hereafter, and His is the final decision, and to Him you will be returned.
See Surah Al-Qasas ayat 68 for the tafsir.
Say, have you considered, if Allah should make for you the night continuous until the day of resurrection, what deity other than Allah could bring you light? Then will you not hear?
Say, tell me, if Allah makes night continuing upon you forever up till the day of judgment, which God, other than Allah, would bring to you light, then do you not listen? Say, tell me, if Allah makes the day continuing upon you forever up till the day of judgment, which God, other than Allah, would bring to you night in which you may have comfort, then do you not see? Surah Al-Qasas, ayat 71 to 72. Allah Ta'ala has mentioned the benefit of the night in this verse, that it provides rest. Surah Al-Qasas, ayat 72. As against this, no mention is made about the benefits of day while referring to its light. The reason for this omission is but obvious. It is a well-known fact that the daylight is superior in its entity to darkness. The benefits of daylight are so numerous and well-known that their repetition was not prudent. On the contrary, the darkness of the night does not have any other benefit except that it provides rest to everything. As a matter of fact, its utility is based on the rest of people, hence it has been mentioned. It is to be noted that after describing daylight, it is concluded with, do you not listen? Surah Al-Qasas, ayah 71, and after describing the night, the concluding expression is, do you not see? Surah Al-Qasas, ayah 72, it may have the illusion that the benefits of the day are so numerous that they cannot be seen, but can only be heard. Hence the expression is used. The knowledge and understanding humans have acquired has mainly come through hearing and listening, and very little by way of seeing. The benefits of night are much less as compared to benefits of the day, and they can be seen, hence the expression Majari.
Say, have you considered, if Allah should make for you the day continuous until the day of resurrection, what deity other than Allah could bring you a night in which you may rest? Then will you not see?
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 71 for the Tafsir.
And out of His mercy He made for you the night and the day, that you may rest therein, and by day seek from His bounty, and that perhaps you will be grateful.
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 71 for the Tafsir.
And warn of the day He will call them and say, where are my partners which you used to claim?
Commentary. A question that will be asked from the infidels on the Day of Judgment to repeat what they had replied to the prophets on their invitation to truth was mentioned in an earlier verse. Now in this verse it is stated that the prophets would testify about the reply that was given by the infidels.
And we will extract from every nation a witness and say, produce your proof. And they will know that the truth belongs to Allah, and lost from them is that which they used to invent.
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 74 for the Tafsir.
Indeed, Qarun was from the people of Moses, but he tyrannized them, and we gave him of treasures whose keys would burden a band of strong men. Thereupon his people said to him, do not exult. Indeed, Allah does not like the exultant.
Commentary. From the beginning of Surah Al-Qasas to this point, the story of Sayyidina Musa with the Pharaoh and his people was narrated. From here onward another story about his is being related, which is about Qarun, who belonged to his own fraternity. This story has an affinity with the previous verses in that it was said in an earlier verse that the wealth you are given in this world is temporary, and it is not wise to get involved in its love. And whatever thing you are given is the enjoyment of the worldly life. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayat 60. Now in the story of Qarun, it is described that he forgot this caution after having received the wealth and got so much intoxicated by it that he displayed ingratitude and rejected to fulfill his obligations toward Allah Ta'ala with regard to bounties he had received from Him. As a consequence of that, he was sunk in the ground along with his treasure. Qarun is a non-Arabic word, perhaps from Hebrew. It is stated in the Quran itself that he belonged to the fraternity of Say ibn Musa Bani Israel. As for his actual relationship with Musa, there are different versions. In a narration of Say ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, he is mentioned as a cousin of Say ibn Musa. There are some other versions also beside this. Qutubai and Ra, a narration of Muhammad ibn Ishaq, reproduced in Ra'ul Ma'ani, has observed that Qarun remembered Torah more than any other Israeli, but turned out to be a hypocrite like Samiri. The cause of his hypocrisy was his misplaced love and greed for worldly wealth and status. Leadership of the entire Bani Israel was conferred on Say ibn Musa and his brother, Sayyid ibn Harun, who was his assistant and partner in prophethood. Hence, Qarun got jealous that after all he was also a cousin, but why did he not have a share in the leadership? So, he made a complaint to that effect before Sayyid ibn Musa. He replied that it was all from Allah Ta'ala, and he had no power in this matter. But Qarun was not convinced on this reply and developed jealousy against Say ibn Musa. Then he rebelled against them. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 76. There are quite a few meanings of the word bagya. The more popular meaning is to commit cruelty. It is possible to take this word in this meaning here. Thus the meaning of the sentence would be that having got intoxicated by his wealth, he started perpetrating cruelty on people. Yahya ibn Salam and Said ibn al-Musayyab have stated that Qarun was a wealthy man, and was appointed by the Pharaoh to keep vigilance on Bani Israel. Taking advantage of this position, he started harassing Bani Israel. Qutubai, the other meaning of bagha, is conceit or arrogance. Many commentators have adopted this meaning here. Hence, the meaning of the verse would be that having got intoxicated by his wealth, he became conceited and looked down upon Bani Israel. And we had given to them such treasures. Kanas is the plural of kans, which means buried treasure. In the commonly used religious sense, kans is that treasure on which zakah is not paid. Say, Ibn Adam, may Allah be pleased with him, has narrated that he got hold of a magnificent buried treasure of Say ibn Yusuf. Ra would weigh too heavy for a strong group. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 76. The word na'e means to bend down with weight, and Uzba means a group. The meaning of the sentence is that his treasures were so many and their keys were in such large number that if a group of strong people would try to lift them, they would bend down under their weight. Normally the keys of the locks are light, but because of their large number, their weight had multiplied so much that it was not possible even for a group of strong persons to lift them all. Ra, do not exult. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 76. Literal meaning of the word, farah, is the happiness one gets as a result of an instant pleasure. Many Quranic verses have declared farah as contemptible, as in this very verse also. Allah does not like the exultant. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 76. In another verse it is said, nor rejoice in what has come to you. Surah Al-Had, Ayah 23. Yet another verse says, and they are happy with the worldly life. Surah Ar-Ra'd, Ayah 26. But in some verses farah is allowed, rather in a way it is declared as desirable. For example, in verses, and on that day, the believers will rejoice. Surah Ar-Rum, Ayah 4, and with these they should rejoice. Surah Yunus, Ayah 58. All these verses put together give us the guideline that farah is contemptible and is not allowed when it reaches the level of arrogance and boasting. Thus one gets to a point where he regards the attainment of pleasure as his own personal achievement and not a gift and favor from Allah Ta'ala. But if the happiness and pleasure does not get to that position, then it is not disallowed, rather in a way it is desirable. In such a situation happiness would be to express the gratitude to Allah Ta'ala.
But seek, through that which Allah has given you, the home of the hereafter, and yet do not forget your share of the world, and do good as Allah has done good to you, and desire not corruption in the land. Indeed, Allah does not like corrupters.
And seek the betterment of the ultimate abode with what Allah has given to you, and do not neglect your share from this world. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 77. The Muslims advised Qarun that he should try to do as much good as possible for the hereafter by utilizing the wealth Allah Ta'ala had given him, and should not forget his share in the world. What is his share in this world? Many commentators have explained that it refers to his life in this world and the deeds that may help him in the hereafter, which include charity and all other righteous deeds. Sayyidina Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, has favored this explanation. Qutubah, by adopting this explanation, the second sentence would be regarded as an emphasized repetition of the first sentence. The first sentence has directed that one should make use of all that has been gifted, the life, wealth, health, strength, etc., to collect that which would be of help in the hereafter. In fact, this portion of the worldly possessions is one's own, which may help him in the hereafter. The rest of the world's possessions belongs to his heirs. However, some other commentators have explained that the meaning of the second sentence is that whatever Allah has given you, make use of it for the hereafter, without losing sight of your needs in this world. In other words, do not become a pauper by giving away everything in charity. Instead, retain something for your own needs as well. Under this explanation, your share in the world means one's own needs in this world.
He said, I was only given it because of knowledge I have. Did he not know that Allah had destroyed before him of generations those who were greater than him in power and greater in accumulation of wealth? But the criminals about their sins will not be asked.
This is given to me because of knowledge I have. With me, Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 78. Some commentators are of the view that knowledge in this sentence refers to the understanding of Torah. As reported in some narrations, Qarun remembered Torah by heart and was an authority on it. He was one of the 70 scholars whom Sayyidina Musa had selected for Miqat, the appointed time and place for having conversation with Allah, but he became conceited on his knowledge and regarded it as his personal achievement. The object of this above referred utterance was to convey that whatever wealth he had possessed was the direct result of his personal skill and intelligence. Hence, he himself had the right on it, and that no one had done any favor to him. However, it is more plausible in the context that the knowledge he was referring to as the basic cause of his being wealthy was the understanding and skill of managing trade and industry, which brings in wealth. Thus the meaning is that whatever wealth he had collected had come to him as a result of his personal skill and efforts, and there was no favor of Allah Ta'ala involved in it. What the foolish, conceited man had ignored was that his skill, understanding, and experience were also the gift of Allah. He could not have gained them on his own. Did he not know that Allah had destroyed from the generations before him? Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 78. The real answer to Qarun's assertion that he had collected all his wealth by his personal skill and efforts is the one mentioned above, that even if it is accepted for a moment that he had acquired his wealth by his personal skill and knowledge, The point is that this knowledge and experience was also the gift of Allah Ta'ala. But in order to bring home the more important aspect of the subject, the Quran has stated that the abundance of wealth is of no avail and is devoid of merit, nor does it help in distress. As a proof of that, the example of the wealthy from the earlier generations has been quoted, that when they disobeyed and rejected the truth, they were suddenly caught by the torment of Allah Ta'ala.
So he came out before his people in his adornment. Those who desired the worldly life said, "Oh, would that we had liked what was given to Qarun. Indeed, he is one of great fortune."
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 78, for the Tafsir.
But those who had been given knowledge said, "Woe to you! The reward of Allah is better for he who believes and does righteousness, and none are granted it except the patient."
And said those who were given knowledge, Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 80. This verse has compared the knowledgeable persons with those who are desirous of the worldly life, Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 79, which clearly indicates that it is not the trait of knowledgeable persons to aspire for the acquisition of wealth and to make it the object of life. They always keep their eyes toward the lasting benefits of the hereafter. As for the mundane wealth, they take it only to fulfill their day-to-day needs and stay content with that.
And we caused the earth to swallow him and his home, and there was for him no company to aid him other than Allah, nor was he of those who could defend themselves.
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 80, for the Tafsir.
And those who had wished for his position the previous day began to say, "Oh, how Allah extends his provision to whom he wills of his servants and restricts it. If not that Allah had conferred favor on us, he would have caused it to swallow us. Oh, how the disbelievers do not succeed."
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 80, for the Tafsir.
That home of the hereafter we assign to those who do not desire exaltedness upon the earth or corruption, and the best outcome is for the righteous.
Commentary. We assigned it to those who intend neither haughtiness on earth nor mischief. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 83. This verse tells us that only those will achieve salvation and success in the hereafter who do not intend any mischief, nor are indulged in ulwa in this world. Ulwa means pride or conceit, that is, to present oneself as superior before others, and to look down upon others and treat them in an insulting manner. Mischief is used here for oppression. Safiyan Athori. Some commentators have observed that every sin is a mischief in the world, because the nuisance of the sin curtails the blessings of the world. This verse tells us that those who intend to do cruelty and feel proud, or commit sin, have no share in the hereafter. Special note: arrogance and conceit as condemned in this verse is the behavior in which one shows off as being superior and looks down upon others. Otherwise, to strive for oneself a good dress, a good house, and good food, when it is not intended to show off, is no sin, as reported in a hadith in Sahih Muslim. Firm intention to commit as sin is also sin. It is clarified in this verse that the intention for mischief and pride will debar one from the share of hereafter. It is, therefore, clear that the firm intention of a sin is as much a sin. However, if one changes his mind for fear of Allah, then a reward is noted in his record instead of sin. But if he fails to act on that sin, due to reasons beyond his control, while he had firm intention to act upon it, then the sin stays against his name, and will be recorded as such. Ghazali, the last verse and the best, and is for the God-fearing Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 83, elaborates that it is not enough to abstain from mischief and pride to get the share of the hereafter, but following the righteous path is as much a requirement. To follow all the religious obligations is also essential for the salvation in the hereafter.
Whoever comes on the day of judgment with a good deed will have better than it, and whoever comes with an evil deed, then those who did evil deeds will not be recompensed except as much as what they used to do.
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 83, for the Tafsir.
Indeed, O Muhammad, he who imposed upon you the Quran will take you back to a place of return. Say, my Lord is most knowing of who brings guidance and who is in clear error.
Commentary. Surely the one who has enjoined the Qur'an and upon you will surely bring you back to a place of return. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 85. At the end of Surah, these verses were revealed to console the Holy Prophet and to make him firm in his mission as a messenger. These verses are relevant to the previous verses in that in this Surah, Allah Ta'ala has narrated in detail the story of Sayyidina Musa with the Pharaoh, his enmity with Bani Israel, their fear of him, and how he overpowered the people of the Pharaoh. Since the Holy Prophet Muhammad faced a similar situation in that he was harassed, and plans were made to kill him, the lives of Muslims were made miserable in Mecca, but following his old tradition, Allah graced them with victory over all of them. He finally gifted the Muslims possession of Mecca, from where they were made to vacate. The one who has enjoined the Qur'an upon you, Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 85, it means that the Lord of the universe, who has made it obligatory on you to recite, teach, and act on it, will take you back to Ma'ad, which lexically means a place of return. Sayyidina Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, has explained that Ma'ad in this verse refers to Mecca, as reported in Sahih al-Bukhari. So, the meaning of the sentence is that although the Holy Prophet would have to leave his hometown, especially the Haram, for a short while, he would be brought back in Mecca by Allah Ta'ala, who had revealed the Qur'an on him, and had made it obligatory to act upon it. The Imam of Tafsir, Muqatil, has narrated that during the Hijra, emigration from Mecca to Medina, the Holy Prophet came out from the cave of Thor at night, and bypassing the conventional route, treaded the unfamiliar paths, because the enemies were pursuing him. When he reached Jufa, which was a well-known place on the way to Medina near Rabig, and where the conventional route to Medina separates from that of Mecca, at that time he glanced back toward the route of Mecca and remembered his hometown. On that moment, Jibril descended with this verse, in which he was given the good tidings that separation from Mecca was temporary and he would return there soon. That was in fact the advance news of the victory of Mecca. It is in this background that Sayyidina Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, has observed in a narration that this verse was revealed in Jufa, and that it is neither Makki nor Madani. Quatubai, Qur'an is a means of victory over enemies and of one's success in his objectives, while promising to the Holy Prophet that he will be brought back by Allah to his hometown, which will be conquered by him. Allah Ta'ala has made a special reference to himself as the one who has enjoined the Qur'an on him. This reference contains a hint to the fact that recitation of Qur'an and acting on its injunctions would actually be the cause of the divine help and manifest victory.
And you were not expecting that the book would be conveyed to you, but it is a mercy from your Lord, so do not be an assistant to the disbelievers.
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 85 for the Tafsir.
And never let them avert you from the verses of Allah after they have been revealed to you. And invite people to your Lord, and never be of those who associate others with Allah.
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 85 for the Tafsir.
And do not invoke with Allah another deity. There is no deity except Him. Everything will be destroyed except His face. His is the judgment, and to Him you will be returned.
Everything is going to perish except His face. Surah Al-Qasas, Ayat 88. The word His face in this verse means the very being of Allah Ta'ala. Hence, the meaning of the verse is that except for Allah Ta'ala everything is mortal and will get destroyed and will vanish. Some commentators have taken the phrase His face to mean the good deeds performed by human beings exclusively for Allah Ta'ala. In that case, the meaning of the verse would be that those actions which are performed exclusively for Allah Ta'ala will not be destroyed, while all other things will perish. Alhamdulillah, today on Dhul-Qa'dah 9, 1391H, September 1971, the commentary on Surah Al-Qasas has concluded.